Good evening, everyone. Welcome, welcome. I am watching our attendance numbers tick up. So I'm sure everyone has been slowly trickling into our Zoom. So good evening, everybody. I'm going to give it just a few more seconds to let everybody kind of trickle in and get their Zooms all situated. And if the updates, of course, pop up like it always does with mine, we'll let those kind of work through. But while we're allowing that to happen, I want to introduce myself. My name is Allison Verheyen. I am one of the student advocates here at U Online with the University of Miami, and I have the greatest pleasure of working with the best students that are in our data analytics and program evaluation programs here at the U. So I am super excited. I get to host this information session this evening. So our goal tonight is to make sure for all of our prospective students that you get all of your questions answered. You learn a little bit more about what we have to offer here at the University of Miami U Online program. So I'm going to go through a few housekeeping notes first, just so everybody kind of knows what to expect. And then I'm going to turn it over to our two incredible panelists. But is aware, I know this is a really busy time of day, whether you're East Coast or West Coast, there's a lot going on at this time. So we're going to really be mindful of that and keep this 45 minutes max. So that's my job. I'm going to be watching the time. And so I'll kind of give updates as we move along to make sure that if you have a question, you have time to get it in. Along that kind of note, it's a busy time. If you need to leave a little bit early, that's okay. We're recording this session, so we will be sending that out to all of you. It will also be available on our YouTube channel later. So if you want to circle back and maybe re-listen to some portions of it, or like I said, if you need to scoot out a little bit early, that's okay too, because we're recording this and this will be available as soon as we're kind of wrapping up with this. We have the opportunity to answer all of your questions here tonight, but we also have a really great enrollment team. So if you're like me and start to think of those questions after the fact, that's okay. Feel free to reach out to our enrollment team. We have our phone number as well as our live chat link on this screen. So if you are thinking of stuff maybe later this evening or more likely tomorrow, if you want to reach out to us that way, we would love to answer those questions that you have. So one last note, and then we're going to jump into introducing our panelists. The best way your questions answered this evening is going to be to use the Q&A feature at the bottom of this screen. So already added a chat, so feel free to just type in those questions. I will be monitoring that throughout the evening. I will pose them to our panelists, or I can perhaps answer them if it's enrollment related. So like I said, if you have questions, don't be a stranger. Go ahead and reach out to us that way so we can get it answered. All right, now let's get to the good stuff. So we have two wonderful people on Zoom call tonight. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. So if we can start, we'll start off with Dr. An, and then we'll move into Kelvin. So Dr. An, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Allison. Hi, everybody. I will say this is a good evening from Miami, but some of you might have a good afternoon or maybe good morning if you guys are coming from different worlds. But anyway, nice to meet you, everybody. My name is Suyan, and sometimes people call me Dr. An, but I love to be called Suyan. It does have a great meaning. So whenever you call me Suyan, I will feel really good about it. So I am professor and program director in the Research Measurement Evaluation program, where we have this master degree in data analytics and program evaluation program is. And I am having another hat. The hat is I am the vice dean of the School of Education and Human Development. I am looking over everybody's from graduate size up to academic affairs. So I have multiple hats, but today I am more about professor and program director of Masters in Data Analytics and Program Evaluation. We call DATE. So welcome, everybody. Calvin, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Awesome. Hi, everyone. Nice to meet everyone, I guess, no matter where you are. I'm currently a senior business intelligence developer at a media agency here in New York. I work with a lot of data every single day, creating API connections as well as write a lot of code, moving, some data structures here and there, as well as the pipelines and dashboards to make sure that, all reporting stakeholders get their data at a timely manner. So definitely experienced in the data world, and excited to be a student here so far. So far, so good.
Thank you both so much. So I want to get started because I am already thinking, Kelvin, back to where you were, maybe, gosh, like time a year ago. A lot of the people on this call are probably there too. So as you're kind of going through the research process, looking at different opportunities, whether it's even like online, in person, there's a lot out there. So I'm curious, what made you decide, Kelvin, that this was the right move for you, just period, like getting that master's degree? And then secondly, what set you online apart? What made you decide to kind of make the jump and go this direction?
Well, in short, basically, why I decided to pursue a master was for career progression, first and foremost. I'm at the point in my career now where I'm definitely competing with, directors and higher ups like that. And I need something to, set myself apart. So I figured, a master's degree was definitely the right time right now to do that. And what set U Online, the University of Miami apart in particular, and why I decided to pursue this was definitely the balance. While doing my exploration, there's plenty of other like data analytics programs out there, but what pulled me towards University of Miami was the balance between the statistical nature, the research nature, and then the machine learning portion. Me in particular, as mentioned, right, I work with a lot of data. So it is definitely more in the engineering kind of umbrella. And I didn't want to just keep learning what I already know. I want to go into the research. I want to learn more about the stats about it as well. I want to be able to learn and put on different hats. So yeah, the U Online was definitely a great choice.
Hear that. And actually, it was kind of perfect timing. We got a question in, and Soyan answered it, but I kind of want to bring it up to the group as well. So, and we had someone ask if this was a good program for someone who doesn't have experience in the industry. And maybe Soyan, if you want to expand upon it, but just to quickly answer it as you did in the chat, it starts from ground zero. It does not assume that you have any experience, but maybe if you could, Soyan, explain a little bit about the curriculum and maybe the background that is or really is not required for the program, and what students can kind of expect from the program.
Sounds good. So this is my brainchild. When I was trying to develop this program, I really wanted to have everybody out there to be the next generation leaders who can understand data or who can understand information, because I am defining data or information much broadly than just numbers that you can think about or statistics that you can think about. So when I was thinking about this one as the program that I want to devote myself in, I had a couple of thoughts. One is we are dealing with the information. That's gonna be, no question. Everybody will be dealing with the information. Information can be number that you can have, physical weight, physical heights. That's another one where you can think about satisfaction, well-being, happiness, or in Calvin's word, salaries. Those are numbers that you are dealing with. It's a numerical data. The other one I was thinking about, the other information is the time that we are having it here. Interaction, verbiage, eye contact, anything that we are having certain phenomenon in it, that's another one I call it as information. So whenever people are thinking about data analytics, everybody think about, I'm going to work with the numbers and putting all the numbers in and getting algorithms and running the machine learning or AI, and I'm going to be having all the algorithm punching the numbers. That's not the way I am always looking at the data analytic program is. That's why I have the name for the data analytic and program evaluations. So any information that you are into it, any information that you are collecting any information that you are touching on that should be understood in a way that you can make the good policy decisions. So that's why this one has the way that I designed will be the first, you're going to do numerical work, which is statistics or machine learning. And then the next part is working with the information that might not be numbered. It can be dialogue, it can be feedback, it can be focus group, it can be interview. How you can use such information that can be understood that will help your understanding from numerical data. Once you have both of them, now you can also your own programs or own problems, or I don't want to say problem, own matters, and you want to see how those matters can be understood to make the good decisions, to make this society to be sustainable and resilient. So that's how the curriculum looks like it, having statistics, which will start with computer programming class. In the computer programming classes, it's all about the basis of how to work with the data, how to import data, how to export data, how to manipulate data, how to visualize data. Those are all based upon R. And then SAS, that's the one that we were using at the first one. So this one is setting the ground. So everybody has their skill sets to move on. And then we go into two other statistics that Calvin just finished. I'm sure he aced everything because he was a great student. And he was using the skill sets he learned from the first class to apply this one to numerical statistical analysis. And in this one, we are using both R and SAS so that everybody can work with it with the choice of either or both. You can imagine Calvin used both of them. Anytime he's turning in the homework, he's using both of them because he wants to be very versatile on both of them. And then now he's taking another class, which is machine learning. In the machine learning, everybody will be using Python. So from the 4 classes, and machine learning is mostly based on regression, prediction modeling basis. So everything you learned from the first 3 classes will be compact into other class that will be based upon Python. So now you learn what R, SAS, Python, you play with the numbers. Now the next 4 classes, you will be working with psychometrics, which will be something about that you will be using a lot in survey design. You'll be working on text analysis. Within the text analysis, you will be working with Python again. And then we do qualitative research and program evaluation. So once you guys are done, now what should you do? We do capstone project 1 and 2, which will be a fun place that you guys will getting into your feet dirty, and then you will be making great data-driven decision making. So that's how it looks like it. And the question is, should I have any industry work? Should I have a master's degrees or should I have a bachelor degree in statistics? No. If you are passionate of the data, I think you can be here. And the passionate of the data is very important. And make the impact, make the sustainable and ethical impact in the society. So those are the things that I am really pushing to everybody. I don't know how you think, Calvin, about my philosophy into courses. Do you have anything to add in?
The only thing I had to add is basically off the current class, my current class, I'm the only one with like direct data analytics skills, if that makes sense. And there's one other person with research skills. And then the rest of the class is, people with sales experience, people who are teachers, people just wanting to make that career switch into data analytics, people who also not sure exactly what they want to do with the data analytics degree, but they know they want to get into data, whether that be data sciences, data engineering, analytics, insights. They're going to decide that later, but for now, this is the path they chose, and we support each other. Definitely a lot of supporting, which I'm sure we'll get into a little bit later.
And that's a great point, Kelvin. And just to kind of add my 2 cents worth on like the sort of onboarding of things to reassure those of you on the call who have literally 0 experience, and that is okay. Soyan prepared a module in our orientation. I just kind of helped to send it out to people. But it is a very kind of quick run through on how to download these things to your computer. And there are some book suggestions for you to be able to run through and kind of do a little bit of like pre-reading before the program actually starts. So there are tools that are available to you before you start your first class, just to kind of make you feel a little bit better. But truly, truly, from working with students who have come into the program with zero experience, I have heard nothing but great things. And after kind of talking to them after that first class, they're like, oh, okay, it wasn't that bad. Their feedback has been they have always been met where they're at, and kind of get caught up in those initial classes. So I hope that kind of helps ease any nerves that students might have on the call. I want to touch base because Kelvin actually brought something up, and we have a question here. And so I'm just going to open it up to you, Kelvin and Soyan, and see what you think. I'm just going to read the question. It says, could you please elaborate on how to choose the proper academic track? I'm not sure which one is the right concentration for me. So I'm going to let you guys kind of deep dive in on that.
So is this question about having stackable certificates? That seems like what it is the question for. So whenever it goes to the master degree, and that degree is with, the first one is data analytic portion, which I said about working with the numbers, which more about statistic and computational model. And then the other portion is having, think about how we can evaluate the effectiveness of an intervention or programs that we are having in any organizations, how we can think about the whole process of evaluating or thinking about the program's effectiveness, data collection up to data report. That's more toward the program evaluation using more qualitative skills, because many of our program evaluation is within very, I guess, a smaller context. So that's why there are two different chunk of contents that we're having it. The first chunk is data analytics, and second chunk is a program evaluation. So the way that you can think about here is a program evaluation is more about if you want to work in small scale organization, nonprofit organizations, dealing with more about interaction, feedback, focus group type of things, and having smaller type of survey researches. And I am more focusing on collecting data, talk about effectiveness of the program. Then program evaluation track is the one that you might want to go with. If you feel like you are more into bigger picture of how data can be understood from more numerical perspective and a little bit bigger than smaller scale, that is how the data analytic, the certificate will be coming in. But having those two together will be getting into master program, which means there is no two tracks. It is one master degree with a two stackable certificate with two different focus of information that you are dealing with. That's how you might want to think about this two. There's no two tracks. There's a two certificate standalone, but you can also combine that to go with a master degree. Hope that answers. Otherwise, you can type in so then I can answer you too.
So, Jan, as kind of a follow-up, we had somebody ask kind of about the difference between the certificates and I guess the master's degree, but then they had a follow-up asking about what's the difference in the career prospects between the two. Could you maybe touch on that?
Sure. So program evaluation can be more about nonprofit organizations or smaller scales that you can think about to go for. So let's assume that you have community programs that you are running in Miami or Chicago or New York, and you really want to see how the smaller scale of intervention or program can be effective. That might be the one that you can think about to be a program evaluation. I guess the track that you can think about, or certificate that you can think about it. And the data analytic is you are not learning anything about qualitative portion or psychometric, which is you're dealing with the survey methods or text analysis, but more with number, I guess, playing with the numbers or creating algorithm and doing prediction modeling will be the other track. So which means I don't say that these are different in terms of track, but then I will say the program evaluation track will be a little bit limited in terms of where you can go into your next step, because it will be smaller scale than bigger scale to deal with a lot of numbers. Okay, so Okay,
Go ahead. No, go ahead. I think we're reading the same things.
Yeah, the question by Ari, I think this is not the program you're talking about. So this is the program you're talking about within the University of Miami, which is not online program. This is an in-person program that is master in data sciences. And within that one, we have many of the tracks that you listed out. One of them is educational and psychometric track that I am also advising. So the difference between the one that you're talking, Ari, and this program is this is a master in data analytics and program evaluation, which is online. The other one you're talking about is data science in person. And this is coming out of College of Arts and Sciences. Within that one, I have my own track too that I am advising. Hope that answers you, Ari.
And looking specifically at courses, and I'm going to try and address this particular question, but then also kind of come at it from a little bit of a broader perspective so that we can talk about the courses in general. But somebody's asking about, do you take them from a standalone department or are they from different departments? I know we have faculty who have a great breadth and depth of knowledge aside from just the specific classes that are taking. But maybe if we could answer this in a little bit more general way of like, what are some of the classes that students can expect? And Kelvin, I particularly would love to hear your experience on the classes that you have taken so far, and maybe what is something that has stood out to you at this point in the program. And then Soyan, if you maybe want to touch on specifically the classes that will be taken as a part of the program.
Sure. So far we've have done a lot of multi-regressions, statistics, well, learning how to work with R, learning about correlation, and then currently we're basically starting in machine learning as of right now, which is a lot of fun. So and I also seeing some questions about like what type of data we're working with. It is a variety. We don't really stick with to like one particular industry. We have worked with just like basic survey data. Right now we're working with sports data as well. We worked with e-commerce data as well. So it just depends. It depends on the assignment, depends on the week. It definitely changes. But definitely learning how to forecast and do prediction type analysis is part of this program, which is really useful, really exciting, something a lot of people are in different industries are really into. And the introduction to AI, which is machine learning, which I don't know, ChatGPT is taking over the world right now, and a lot of companies are looking for that type of skill, especially when it comes to data analytics. Especially, I don't know, one trend I've noticed with a lot of industries and a lot of companies, especially, is that there's a lot more, how can we use this data to get a return on investment, and taking that learnings to the next level, right? Can we turn this information that we have into actual dollars, which I think is what this program actually does a pretty good job of trying to give us the tools in order to answer that question, no matter what industry you're in. So.
So yeah, that is a perfect. No matter what industry you are in, and you will be using skills that you learn, and you can apply this to any discipline. So, well, sometimes people don't think that School of Education and Human Development has this background in computational model and quantitative methods. School of Education has a long history to work with numbers in prediction modeling. The best example is SAT or ACT or GRE. Those are the one questionnaires or how those exams are fair. Has been working a lot with the statistical modeling. Am I frozen?
Okay, my computer froze. Did anyone else's freeze?
everyone just came back, so
Yeah,
everyone's
everyone
all
just
good.
came back. That's good.
Yes.
So school
Perfect.
education. Yeah, that's okay. So school education can be applied to anywhere, working with the skills that you can learn, and then you can apply to anywhere. It can be business, it can be public health, it can be psychology, anything that you can work with in your discipline that can be applicable. So Calvin just mentioned the instructor who is teaching machine learning using Python. His background is sports analytics. So that's why he is one of the person who is teaching these classes, because he's using sports data to make the prediction on performance or well-being or anything that we can have, or even betting or gaming. Those are the one that he has been working on. That's why he's teaching these classes. And later on, we're going to have other people who have been working in psychology or higher educations, those people who have been working with the data that will be applicable for those methodologies. So that's what I would say, that it's coming from one department or coming from one school with a different disciplinary backgrounds.
Perfect. So I have an answer to this, but I work here. So Kelvin, I'm also gonna like segue this one over to you because you're like actually doing it, right? Somebody's curious, how much time do you typically spend a week working outside of class, doing the homework and studying? I have the answer that we give on average, but again, you're really doing it. So could you maybe
Yeah.
share with us, like, what does a week normally look like for you?
Oh gosh. Let me think. Um, so basically my day-to-day goes, I work from, let's say, 9 a.m. to like 5 to 6 p.m. I would say on a normal day. And then on I go to the gym or play soccer. I trying to get that activity out of the way, and then I spend time with my fiance to make sure that she's not being ignored. And then once she goes to bed, that's when I actually do my homework. So I'll say, let's say 2 to 4 hours a day. Depends. Depends on the assignment, depends on the week, depends on what exactly we're doing. But I put in 2 to 4 hours a day, because it's not just about just like getting the assignment and turning it in, but it's also just like absorbing the material that we're doing, and the technical piece, right? The coding that's involved in it as well, and making sure that you have a good understanding, because every single week that is a building block on itself, right? So making sure you got that down in order to prepare yourself for the next week. So yeah.
Perfect. Yes. And that's, I think you nailed it when it said it depends upon the week. It depends upon the day. And typically the way these courses are structured is and we had a question on here as well about, how are they taught? Is it self-taught? Is there a professor? So there is information that's preloaded into Blackboard that you're able to move through. And when I say at your own pace, at whatever time of day works best for you. Like Kelvin has his kind of situation set up. I know other students set their alarm clocks early in the morning and kind of work through things that way. So depending upon what your lifestyle is and how you work best is when you can sort of work through those assignments. And then typically they're going to be assignments with sort of set dates throughout the week. I'm just throwing out an example, but if the first day of the week is a Monday, you may have something due Thursday and then another something due on Sunday, just kind of as a random example. So you're able to do your readings, you're able to do your assignments, you're able to do, if there's a discussion post, you're able to kind of work through it because what deadlines what kind of micro deadlines you're sort of pushing towards. So hopefully that helps. I have to brag on because she does the best, and all of our professors, they offer office hours, and so that is an opportunity where I never want any of our online students to feel like you're just constantly like logging on and you're not seen. You're very much seen, and there are Zoom sessions that are available to where you're able to jump onto those calls during those weekly office hours and those sessions, and interact with the professor. So I don't know, Soyan, if you want to elaborate on that. I know I've seen you offer it to students before, of if they're local, then to meet up with you. I know you love that interaction as well, but I think it is a really neat community that can interact with people who are in New York, but also who are in South Florida.
Well, since we started, I think everybody was so busy, so they were really studying hard. But I know that these guys are having their own chat behind the scene that they never shared with me. I was not invited into that chat, so I don't know what's going on with them. But I see they have a great community among them. They ask questions each other. Maybe they also share their difficulties, challenges, which is great because I would say graduate school is all about making also social network, not just learning, but you are making your friends, your colleagues, or anything that you can work around your life. That's a great way. So even though I was not invited, I'm not jealous into the chat that they are having it, but that's a great way to do it. The other one that I am making distinction from other online program than ours is we have voluntarily live sessions, weekly live sessions that the faculty comes in and teaches during the time of the, I guess, 2 to 3 hours. It's not like everybody just go ahead and just watch it, but it is not mandatory because it's online program. So we ask people if they want to come and listen to us. The reason I'm saying here is that sometimes Calvin thinks that, oh, Soyeon, it doesn't make sense whatever she says, but maybe next day, if Allison teaches, maybe Calvin said, oh, that makes sense because somehow I click to what Allison is explained to me. So that's why I have this system that we have a recording, but at the same time, I'm having my faculty to teach every week 2 to 3 hours, but then that is not mandatory. Anybody comes, Calvin never missed it. So, you can see how committed Calvin is, but he comes there, he asks questions, or, he asks a clarification. Sometimes he negotiate with me about the due date, which is good. So in that way, everybody also get to know each other and learn better. And then if this is done, we always post the recorded one right after that one, and whatever supplements we're using during the classroom will be added into Blackboard, which means you have a recording, but you also have a live streams that is live stream, and then you have a recorded live stream. So that's the way I'm making distinction of online program that I'm having it, because I always feel like whoever teaches you statistics, whoever teaches you machine learning will make the little differences. So that's one of my philosophy I'm having it.
Perfect. So I have a question, and I feel like this is talking y'all's language and not mine, so I'm just going to read it direct. Is SQL introduced / covered? Guys, I got to be honest, I don't know what SQL is, so I'm going to turn it to the experts.
No, we don't. And Power BI, those are type we don't. So we don't have such Excel things in it, or a SQL. We don't have such a thing. So unfortunately, we don't teach it. Sorry about that.
That's perfect. And I am again trying to read through these questions as we go through them. Someone is asking, if accepted into the program, what can they do to set themselves up for success? I know we talked a little bit about this, but to deep dive a little bit more within the orientation that all students are required to take. So it's an online orientation that you progress through over 4 weeks. There is an entire module that Soyeon created dedicated to doing just that. So there's a recommended text for you to read. There is a practice quiz for you to go through. There are different resources that are located in there. So that's a great way for students to, I know, begin to prepare. And then those introductory classes are taught under the assumption that you're coming in with no background knowledge. But am I missing anything? Or Kelvin, like if you're looking back on it, is there something that you wish you had maybe done differently, or something that you feel like could be helpful?
Do I wish if there was something differently that can be helpful? I'm not honestly, not really. The orientation was pretty good. The orientation was basically a quick stats 101 and just learning how to do APA writing, which is important for definitely the essay portions. Essay portion, I shouldn't say essay. They're not really essays, more just the statistical write-ups that we do, the insights that we had to do, and we had to do it in the APA format, right? So no, I wouldn't change anything really. Everything was definitely pretty good, especially someone who, for me, I haven't been in school taking undergrad classes in like I don't know how long now, like 8, 9 years, I don't know. So getting a refresher on basic statistics and getting a refresher on just how to write in proper grammar and not like just writing an email to my friends it was definitely pretty crucial and important. So I'm happy for that.
For
And
sure.
also sorry to add
Oh,
on
perfect.
about the setting someone up. Also I know the University of Miami has a partnership with Handshake that offers a lot of jobs and opportunities and internships and things like that. I get emails for them like every day about opportunities that come up for employers that are interested in our people in our particular program and things like that. So yeah, I think that would I think a lot of people are probably listening are probably interested in knowing about that. But yeah, there is a career placement program for all students. And we just have to be on top of it and apply where we can, I guess.
And I'm so glad you mentioned that, Kelvin. I know I was typing a response to someone asking about that. So we do have a Topple Career Center for the university. They have a ton of different connections that are absolutely accessible to our U Online students. It's something that's really neat, and I appreciate about the way the university operates is just because your classes are online does not limit you to coming on campus. If you are local, you are of course welcome on campus. If oftentimes we have students who are maybe traveling for business to the Miami area, so they may just find of days and want to kind of head over. That's very common as well. Sometimes we have students who hear about a networking opportunity being hosted on campus and will travel for that particular reason. But Handshake is what the Career Center uses to connect our students with those opportunities. And that's something, as soon as you get that Miami email, you can start kind of creating your profile and accessing it that way. So thank you so much for bringing that up, Kelvin. That's a great point that I didn't even mention the use of Handshake, but that's a very popular one that sends out a lot of emails. So perfect. Let's see, I'm trying to look through. So sort of talking through different the application process, and I'm also being mindful of the time where we're kind of coming up on that 45-minute mark, but we're still going through these questions. So for the application process, if a student has below a 3.0 GPA, you could absolutely apply for one of our certificates. And then if accepted into the certificate program, after completing that certificate, if you have earned a 3.0 cumulative GPA within that certificate, absolutely, you can then apply for the master's program. So that is something that we work with students on a good bit, and that would be an opportunity for you as well. So that's a great question. Also kind of looking through some things. So will I be able to use, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Do you think you can touch base on something about tuition remissions, or is it scholarship or something that we are offering? Because
Yes.
someone was asking.
Yes, absolutely. So if you are an employee of the University of Miami, those employees qualify for tuition remission if they are on campus. It's not applicable to online, but the good news is by attending the webinar tonight, actually everybody on this call is qualifying for literally the highest discount I've ever seen at 50%. So a 50% tuition discount is available to everybody on this call tonight, in addition to a $300 deposit waiver. So, I mean, I feel like Oprah Winfrey just like dishing it all out right now. But those are some really, really great benefits, so that even though maybe that tuition remission wouldn't be able to carry over to online, by attending tonight, you're getting literally the highest. It's not really a scholarship. It's a bit more of like a tuition discount, but that's the highest one that has ever been offered. So that's a pretty good deal there. Let's see. I'm trying to think. I know, so Jan, you're answering a few of these. I can, for the student who got the suggested book, if you'll give me a moment, I can absolutely look that up and send that over to you. Somebody asked, what would the benefit of this be versus doing the University of Miami Analytics Boot Camp? Either one of you feel comfortable answering that question?
I am not sure what courses or what skills they are having. Is it more about focus on learning R or learning Python? I think they are focused much more on technical skill sets. So that's the one that we are having it, but at the same time, there are other information or knowledge or data that we are working with, which can be psychometrics or survey methods or text analysis. Those are not just technical basis, it can be also applicable for many different disciplines. So I don't know exactly how differences can be, but this one is more variety of courses and experiences. At the end, you will be having capstone projects that are split into two, which means you choose whatever topic you're having, you choose whatever discipline you're having, and you start from the beginning up to the end. At the end, you need to have your white papers that can be used for your resume or anything that you can show your skill sets in terms of how you're dealing with the data from the beginning up to the end. So that is another differences that we are having it. And asking other question about portfolio. So I have this torture that I'm making our students that from the classes, why don't you create a video that is teaching one of contents you learn? And whenever I ask people, oh my God, they are much better than how I teach. And that can be used for your portfolio, because that can show your understanding, your way of presentation, your way of using technology. So that's the intention behind that. I was asking people to do such portfolio type work, and that can be used for your portfolio, for your resume, for getting jobs. So I don't know, Calvin, how your experience was, but I had real fun to listen to everybody.
It's definitely it was really cool to so the assignment that Dr. Runner Soyan is talking about is we have to give a lesson on what we learned and apply it to our industry. So it's great to apply what we learned throughout the semester into like our daily jobs. Particularly, I built a forecasting model predicting conversions for my particular client in media based off the media dollars that we spend, the media impressions, the media clicks that we get. And it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. It definitely raised a lot more questions than answers, I think, which I think is the point of analytics as well, right? You answer a question with analytics that will result to you in another question, and then you just kind of keep going down the path. But to also answer the question, I just did a quick Google search of the boot camp of, I would say, I don't know, as someone in the field, someone who, you know, is in business intelligence right now, right, and worked in analytics for multiple years, I would say a master's is probably worth more than the certificate. I think that's definitely the biggest thing. Although there's a lot of cool skills here, you definitely learn SQL, Tableau, but I would always go for the masters if you can. I mean, obviously everyone's different, so if you can go for it, then go for the masters. Can we connect on? Yeah, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. I don't mind. I always like to connect to people on LinkedIn, so I don't mind.
That's awesome. I was like, Kelvin, I don't know how to give this shout out, but are you on LinkedIn?
Yeah, no worries. I don't mind. I don't mind at all. Totally cool with
That's
it.
awesome. That's awesome. Well, guys, I just looked at the clock. I've had so much fun. And we are at the 44-minute mark. So I know we've discussed a lot tonight. I hope we were able to get all of your questions answered. Just a few more housekeeping notes, although I know we've talked a good bit about all of this already. But let's talk about the application quickly. So we do have an application deadline coming up. In order to get those documents ready for you to apply, here are the things that we require. We need a transcript, unofficial works as you're going through the application process. We will need an official transcript of every institution you have attended. At some point, once you start enrolling, at least need that official transcript, but unofficials work for the application process. We also need an updated resume. We ask for a personal statement, which does not have to be super long, just kind of giving us an idea of what are your goals, why are you applying to this program, for us to learn a little bit more about you. We need 2 letters of recommendation. On your application, you'll actually list the person's name and their contact information, and then we will reach out to them and provide them with the form to complete for those actual letters of rec. And then lastly, if you intend on using financial aid, you'll want to complete the 2023-2024 FAFSA if you're planning on starting this summer. So our summer start date is May the 6th. So that application deadline that we have coming up, I believe it's next week, March 11th. Yeah, next week. That's going to be for our summer term. If you were looking more towards the fall, though, I know we had this question in the chat. Also have a fall start date. Our fall term begins in September. So May is what starts our summer term, and then September is what starts our fall term. So this is what you need to apply. I believe the next slide that we have, yes, is about that early admission deadline on March 11th. So literally that is a Monday. We're talking like 6 days from now. So highly encourage you to go ahead and start working on that application. You can see the QR code there at the bottom. If you scan that, it'll take you straight to the application, or you can just visit our website. You'll see the pop-up. It's pretty hard to miss. By attending tonight, I know we've discussed this, but really to kind of hit it home, you're receiving a $300 deposit fee waiver. And again, the highest tuition discount I've seen, 50% tuition discount, which is incredible. And that tuition waiver applies throughout the duration of the program. It's not just like you get it for your first semester and then it's gone. That's something that maintain throughout the length of your program, which is awesome. Early admission is Monday, March 11th. And then again, if you're like me and start to think of some more of these questions, maybe over the night or throughout the next week or something, feel free to reach out to us. We have an awesome enrollment team who is always happy to answer those questions. You can do it by calling or the live chat. I like that live chat feature because it's a to kind of get it done maybe while you're also at work or something. So those are all the ways to reach us. Thank you so much, Kelvin, Soyan. Thank you so much. I've had a blast just being with you guys and getting all these questions answered. To all of our prospective students, thank you for joining us. And again, you will be receiving the link to this video. If you want to go back and rewatch it, you'll have that opportunity as we'll be sending that out. But otherwise, thanks everyone so much and have a great evening.